Now what happens is the next thing, the next level of this is orchestration. Once you can write an iso rhythm, and once you can sing it and dance it around and walk around all day, free associating using that rhythm, in one day, any one of us could generate 10 or 15 interesting melodies. Okay, and if you write them out on a piece of paper as a rhythmic curve, you have a good chance of sitting down at your instrument later and at least knocking out 4 or 5 of them. any 4 or 5 of the 10 you've written down on a napkin while you're out at a restaurant. Okay? You can bring home, sit down at your piano or your violin or your flute or your euphonium, piccolo, and start playing them and try to figure out what they are. You should be able to recover 4 or 5 of those quite easily, and then sit down and start putting your ideas down. The next thing is, we can't play the same thing all the time, forever and ever. And what really makes a song is more the arrangement, in many cases, than the melody or the harmonies. So in terms of arrangement, this is where all these little drum jams that we've been doing come in. When you guys are sitting around doing a drum jam, what are some of the things that come up that people have said are bad, and what are some of the things that come up that people said sounded good? What happened? Well, we know that when everybody played all the time loudly and fastly, that was bad. So I can't, if I'm going to write out 3 or 4 lines here, as 3 or 4 musicians, and start orchestrating something, I just can't have everybody turn on and play whatever it is they want all the time. And a lot of times when we do jams, and I say free jam, everybody's jamming their own thing. So we got 15 people in the room, got 15 different rhythms going on, and it gets to be quite a cacophony of sound. Sometimes it's hard to isolate individual lines that might sound interesting, or individual instruments that might sound interesting, right? So in order to make that better, we have to just really bring an eraser to the party and start erasing lines, or not having some people play. And if we had fewer people play more often, then individual things would be able to come forward and shine for a while and be able to hear them and what they are, and move back into a chorus or cacophony of things. So it's about moving some voices forward and moving some voices back in. Or it's about only having 2 people play against each other for a while, and then adding a third, or having them all lay out and come down to a single line, stuff like that. So the orchestration is really sort of an architecture, the form, and the architecture of what you want to do with these pieces really becomes more important in writing songs than the individual pieces. You get a good melody, that's a great thing. Any melody will do. Get some good words to put against it, that's great too. Build it up with a nice chord progression, that's great too. But what really makes it is, are you writing it for Kenny G, or are you writing it for Merle Haggard, or Clint Black, or are you writing it for Adam Lambert on American Idol? Who are you writing it for? And then that determines a certain style, doesn't it? A certain kind of orchestration, a certain way of building it up. So all that stuff is the stuff that you really have to learn to compose, which is more has to do with arranging. But this little stuff can get you started into the process of writing, because that's the hardest part for everybody. Everybody seems afraid to write, or they go, I want to write, but, well, this is the simplest way I know of to get you to start writing. And once you start this process of writing, you'll find it's pretty addictive, because you can cut and paste and boilerplate a lot of good ideas you've had. They stay around for a long time on pieces of paper, and you never know when you're going to pull them out and use them. So you don't lose any. You don't lose stuff. You have these good ideas and you lose them. This is a way of keeping it. So now we're going to do some ear training, and we're going to still use those basic code words we've been using. What I do when I want to write is I draw 2 lines out, and I'll say one of them's Danny and one of them's Paul. Then I'll decide what rhythm Danny's starting with. I want Danny to start, so Danny starts this thing, and I'm going to have him play for 3 or 4 measures, and then have Paul come in. And then they'll both do And then I watch that go on for another 5 or 6 measures, 7 measures, something like that, and then I'm going to decide one of them's got to lay out. Right? One of them I'm going to let solo. Then what they're going to, and then I'm going to have them change rhythms. The rhythm Danny started with, I'm going to have Paul start, and have him play it by himself, and then have it go over to Danny and have Danny do it. So there's a switching of a single rhythm to go in between the two. This is all part of orchestrating. This is all part of it. So if I had just had put 2 lines out here with 2 people, and then started writing out some rhythms, I could write a rhythm jam, basically, and I could score a rhythm jam by just drawing 2 simple lines and putting names on them, and then start figuring out how I want them to interplay. So let's do a little bit of ear training here. Now we've been doing drum and Tarzan and alligator. So I only have 6 of these. I'm not going to put you through a lot of them. Okay, I only have 6 of these, and I'm going to play it twice, and then I want you to tell me what it is, all right? 1, 2, ready, go. And again.
Drum, Tarzan, Tarzan, drum.
Yeah. Ready? Again.
Alligator, Tarzan, alligator, drum.
Right. Again. Everybody?
Tarzan, Tarzan, alligator, Tarzan.
Right.
Tarzan, alligator, drum, drum.
Okay.
Drum, alligator, Tarzan, drum.
Some of you catching on too fast. Ready? Again.
Alligator, drum, Tarzan, drum.
That's it for those. Now, remember that? Alazan,
No.
Alazan, 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 Tarzan, Tarzan, Alazan, Tarzan, Alazan, Tarzan, Alazan, drum, drum, Alazan, Alazan, drum, Tarzan, Tarzan, Alazan, drum, Alazan, Alazan, Tarzan, Tarzan, Alazan, Alazan, Tarzan, drum. Think you've got it now, Alazan? Okay. One more time. Everybody?
Alazan, Tarzan, Alazan, drum.
All right. I play it twice so you can test it. Okay? And again.
Tarzan, drum, Alazan, Tarzan.